Hi guys, good morning. This is Dan. Welcome to Engelgeist. For those of you that are new, welcome. For those of you that are returning, welcome back. And for those of you that support me over on Patreon, thank you so very much for your subscriptions. You know that they mean the world to me. For those of you that send me decks off of my wish list, thank you so very much for that too. Both of the decks that we'll be using throughout this month of April have been sent to me by viewers, friends of mine that support the channel in that way. So thank you very much to both of you for that. This is the forecast for all signs. It's the daily forecast. It's just looking at the collective energy that's out there that we can either enjoy or grow from or experience. Each one of you may experience it in a slightly different way around a different subject. So it will be a broad spectrum reading. You just need to sort of figure out where it applies in your life. If it doesn't apply, that's okay. It doesn't mean anything's wrong or bad. You might just be working on something different at this time. So don't think that's, neither here nor there. Take what you need and sort of leave the rest. Also, please, if you're watching this on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter, please go to my YouTube channel, hit the like button and hit subscribe if you feel so inclined. I'm doing a fair amount of live events. If you hit the notification bell, you can be notified when I go live on YouTube. Follow my Facebook business page. Also over on YouTube, please pull down the pull down menu on each of the daily videos. And it's the same description, but it gives you a brief insight into sort of how I want my readings to be used, how you can find me on my social medias, and how you can contact me or book a reading, a private reading. All that information is included in the video description. Most importantly too, though, just read all the way to the bottom because, I want you guys to understand that how I want you to sort of view these readings or use them in your life, okay? All right, so let's get into these cards. Now, we had yesterday's reading for the weekly, and actually I watched it this morning with a few viewers, and it was kind of a little bit of a trip, to be honest. I didn't realize today was Easter, well, I'm taping this the day before, so you guys will be seeing this the following day. So I didn't realize yesterday was Easter. That doesn't make sense because it's today, but all right. When I filmed the weekly. And then when I looked at the weekly, if you go back and you look at the weekly, there's some definite interesting correspondence that both myself and some viewers pieced together as we were watching it. So I don't know what that means, but I just wanted to acknowledge that. So we're getting into now Monday the 5th. This is originally intended for Monday the 5th of April. Still in Aries season. Just having passed Easter, and this is also not necessarily only created for that date. If you're seeing this on a date that's different than April 5th, it's okay. You can continue to watch the video. There might still be something in here that you need to hear or that may apply to whatever's going on with you right now. And that's with all of my readings. I intend them for a certain date, or they're created originally for that date, but they're also intended to be good for whenever they're viewed. So enjoy that. Okay, so let's see what the cards want us to know today. All right. So we have the Ten of Swords. Interesting. Only one card fell off originally. That was weird. Okay. And it was the Star. All right. So I'm not sure. We're going to go with this Ten of Swords because that felt more like a cut to me. Let me just look at this for a minute. The Ten of Swords is usually indicated by somebody with extreme defeat, right? Where he's sort of laying face down with 10 swords in his back. Tens always signify the beginnings or sort of the endings that are about to come. And that sort of what I see with these birds is more of like a new beginning, or where this woman is heading to is a new beginning. Swords is the element of air, right? Hence why we have these sort of birds flying through the sky and flying off to like sort of maybe the next chapter, the next thing we need to face, we need to think about, we need to look at. Swords being that air element energy, it's about our thoughts, our mind, and where we're at today. Are we finished with the situation? Are we done with the situation? Are we seeking, and I'm just going to show you this card because this was the first card that fell off, which was the Star. Are we seeking the peace of this Star, right? And I think that some of us are. That's the reason why only one card fell off the bottom of the deck when I attempted to cut this morning. The Star is one of my favorite cards, but I think she wants to kind of call out to us a little bit to let us know that there is peace in this, even though we may not feel it currently with this Ten of Swords, right? The Ten of Swords can indicate being done with a situation, so much so that we have to like sort of give in or free ourselves in a way by releasing it completely and totally. We had that Hanged Man energy from yesterday's reading, which will be underpinning this Ten of Swords. Both kind of have a similar vibe, although the Hanged Man is a little bit more... It's a powerful card. It's definitely emotional because it's the sign of Pisces. But when it's underneath this Ten of Swords, to me, it might feel like we may not feel emotionally as adept or as it may not feel as easy as we would like it to be to sort of release our emotions around this situation, while we may be able today to spend time releasing our thoughts around this situation. We have to begin somewhere, if that makes sense. And first, maybe we change our thoughts, and then the feelings will transpire. Does that make sense? Or the feelings will follow in a way. That's also in that Hanged Man yesterday. We saw that I was speaking about the Hanged Man always represents that sort of illumination through spiritual sort of contemplation, meditation, that sort of weight that happens with the Hanged Man, right? And she, although she's standing here on this beach getting ready to move forward, it's almost like her thoughts go out before her in these birds, right? The 10 birds that are flying before her, they are sort of, in my mind, releasing and going in different directions or going to something new thoughts towards new things. And then we start to begin that journey. And as we start to begin that journey mentally, then we might be able to free ourselves up emotionally we may come into that understanding, that awareness that we seek in that Hanged Man that awakens us to a new chapter, a new perception, a new way of seeing things, right? I don't feel like this card, to me, what I like about how the artist depicted this card is this card doesn't have the finality that I'm used to seeing with a Ten of Swords. This card speaks more to the way that they've designed it. It feels more like, yes, we're done and we're walking away, but we're also walking towards something new, or we're thinking our way towards something new. That will take a little bit of time. That's that Hanged Man energy, but we have to start somewhere, like I said, and I feel like that's the starting here with our thoughts and beginning to acknowledge that, okay, this is not working for us, or this needs to be changed. These things need to stop holding us back. However it's manifesting in your life, today's the day to kind of work on releasing that, letting it go, expanding it, letting it fly free, seeking that piece of that Star card underneath all of this. Because that's the enlightenment also that comes out of the Hanged Man, I believe, is that we sometimes we will get unstuck, so to speak, and we can then experience, hopefully, that peace, tranquility, and awareness of the Star, that sort of ethereal glow that the Star kind of presents. So let's see what the Lightworker Oracle has to say. And remember, too, that underpinning stone for this week is this sense of wisdom, this new found wisdom. And because, I'm filming this on Easter, but because this is Easter week and because of Sunday's reading, I really think that there's some sort of like a death rebirth cycle happening for each and every one of us. And this is the beginning of that, right? Because when you look at the Ten of Swords on a traditional deck, he is certainly, the reason why we're done there is because he is dead, right? He's laying there on the beach. Oh, wow, one card fell off again. Hold on, I don't know why only one card keeps falling off. I'm shuffling one more time. I trust my deck enough to know that if I shuffle one, I want a good clear cut, please. Okay, well, we'll take that. An invitation to connect. This is card number 19, which would come to a 10, which would be a 1, right? 1 and 9 is 10. 10 boils down to a 1. We have the 10 of Swords. We would also have a 1, 1, or an 11. Let's get a little trippy. This is full on the Xanadu card. It makes me think of Xanadu, which is one of my favorite movies. An invitation to connect. What's interesting to me here is that, like, it looks like she's sort of connecting through her thoughts, through her mind, through, maybe where we limit ourselves, where we hold ourselves back, where we, are in fear, worry, anxiety. Those are the swords that, like, stab the man in the back in the traditional meaning. As we release those, there is an invitation to connect to ourselves, to our higher selves, to that light that we see in that gentleman's chest, kind of around his heart chakra, also through his third eye or his sixth chakra there. We see him connecting to higher realms. We see him spreading out, like I said earlier, expanding our thoughts, opening up to new ideas, opening up to new wisdoms, allowing ourselves to grow beyond sort of whatever restrictions maybe the Hanged Man has placed on us underneath this. But we have to connect to that. What I also feel like with this invitation to connect is with the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is always depicted as sort of, obviously stuck, hanging wherever, in whatever position he is. There's this idea that the way that I see this invitation to connect is like, be right here in this present moment. Connect to where you're at and sort of find as much comfort within your own skin or within your own mind, within your own being, to just be there, right? That's how you'll probably find the answers that you seek in the Hanged Man, right? How you'll find the ability to free yourself and your mind or your thoughts through this Ten of Swords. I also think that this 10 of Swords and this 1 and 9, which equals a 10 in this other card, do create like a 1 and 1, which would be an 11. There is a level of like weird spiritual mastery going on underneath this. I think that 11 is significant here. We are learning something ideally, or we are transforming something if we actively think of it in those terms. If we actively or consciously, with our intention and our attention, focus on these things, look for, and we don't have to like struggle search, right? But just to look at where are the thoughts that we can release that are no longer serving us. Those are those birds above her head. As we let them go, the emotions will change. That's the Hanged Man, and that will begin to release as we begin to connect to our deeper self, to our heart, to our intuition. We open ourselves up to new possibilities, new ideas, and I believe that's where we begin to see that Ace of Wands that we will see at the latter end of this week, in the weekly that we saw on Sunday. We start to see that through this invitation to connect to that third eye, which is lit up in that Ace of Wands card we saw yesterday. So for each one of you, this is going to be around a different situation. It could be around a person, a job, whatever it is, but wherever this is in your life for you, there's a freedom that's able to be had, but you have to kind of be the catalyst for that freedom in a way. But it's almost like being and this is going to sound strange, I know, but be the catalyst through not inaction, but through like, I feel like neither of these two cards are fighting against it, right? The Ten of Wands would always be that sort of defeat. I don't feel defeat with her. I feel like she's standing still and paying attention to her thoughts and then releasing them as those birds fly away. Just like this person is standing still and willing to accept this invitation to connect within themselves and their own higher knowledge and their own knowledge of their heart, right? And those things, from those, it's like taking action through staying still and listening to oneself and one's heart and one's mind and one's higher self. The doors will sort of open is the feeling that I get, or the thoughts will come to us. It may take a little time. There might be a little bit resistance coming up this week because we do have that 7 of Wands in the midweek, but it opens by the end of the week and the work starts now is kind of the feeling that I'm getting. Let me read to you this invitation to connect. This may feel too, I'm just going to remind you that Dark Night of the Soul card from yesterday, this might feel sort of a little bit uncomfortable at first, or not the norm for how we operate in our world. But I also think our world has changed in such a way that we have to operate and adapt to those changes by changing ourselves and how we operate or adapt, or how we reflect, how we tune in, where we tune in. Are we tuning into the outside world for cues or to ourselves? And I think this is saying tune into ourselves for these cues. So, an invitation to connect. Love exists throughout our universe. Many loving beings that do not belong to the human race exist in worlds beyond the earthly realm. Among these are those who are aware of the spiritual plight of humanity and are willing to be able to help us move forward. Unlike those who close their minds because they fear the unknown, you have an open mind and an open, receptive heart. Beings from other worlds recognize you as a receptive channel for their unconditionally loving assistance in this world. You will both benefit from this individually and help the planet. So you are being offered an invitation to connect. The invocation is, as a member of the human race, through my own free will and for the greatest good, I call upon all beings that resonate with the quality of unconditional love and wish to assist humanity and Earth to evolve on the path of divine love. I ask for the unconditionally loving ascended masters that serve Christ consciousness to be the gateway through which permission is confirmed for those beings to enter Earth's field and assist humanity according to divine will, grace, and love. May all beings be happy and free. So be it. And I think also too, that freedom, we see that we're seeking that within the Hanged Man. We're also seeing that happening here by these birds being set free in this Ten of Wands. So let's look to the grounding stone really quick. So this is the stone. It's on a river stone. Yesterday was wisdom. Today is wealth. And I think, wealth automatically gets associated with money, but I think in this case in point, we need to look to where we're wealthy, where we're abundant, where we have what we need, maybe even more than what we need. As we focus on that wealth, right, that also allows us to free these unlimiting thoughts, right? These things that hold us back. As we look at where we're rich, like in friendships or in thoughts of well-being, wealth can be money for some of you. If some of you have an excess and a plethora of money, great. You can use that and be thankful for that. I think the idea of focusing on wealth is to focus where we're abundant and where we are in gratitude for the blessings that we have. As we do that, we also open ourselves up to even more blessings, right? That awareness of those blessings where we're rich and abundant. And abundance can be, and richness can be in many different things. It can be a richness of I just want to put this across so people don't assume this just means about money, because this isn't. I feel like this message, especially with this Ten of Swords, is about finding the richness that is within. That's the invitation to connect to ourselves. The abundance that sort of we have that we can channel within ourselves. I hope that makes sense to you guys. It is there for you, and the wisdom to attain that, right? That's underneath this wealth. So as we find this, we focus on it, we will gain that wisdom and that awareness and be able to tap into it and utilize it for our highest good and the highest good of others. That is your forecast. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.